Blizzard in Baator, an expansion mod for Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition, is shaping up nicely. It's been in development since early 2024, and the Act 1 is scheduled for release later this year. Act 1 is planned as a demo version of the full mod, and just last week, its trailer dropped. Let me tell you, Codders, it looks downright spectacular, even more so if you dig deeper into its contents. I did a little analysis and then contacted the creators with some questions to go beyond what they've already told Grimoire Sferowca, a great Polish Planescape Torment fansite. So sit back, whether you are a Planewalker or a Clueless, and let me tell you everything I learned about Blizzard in Baator. The story of Blizzard in Baator is shrouded in mystery. The adventure is a detour in the Nameless One's journey, set after his return from Carceri. In other words, the mod expands the late game but leaves the ending itself unchanged. The team is very cryptic, but they did tell me the Nameless One will have a compelling reason to take a roundabout route to the Fortress of Regrets. One such reason is tracking down a mysterious Aerenes who might shed some light on the protagonist's past. On top of that, our new travels across the plains will get us tangled in an insidious political struggle between the Lords of the Nine Hells. It seems portals will play an important part in the story. Here's a short dialogue fragment from Blizzard in Baator's announcement at Grimoire Sferowca, roughly translated by yours truly. A rough, almost insectoid hand drummed its fingers on the cold stone counter. Soon, the fiend muttered to himself, staring at the glow of the city rising from behind the opposite peak. There won't be 9. A heavy metal door screeched open with a cruel grinding sound as it scraped across the stone floor. A cowled, inhumanly bent figure shuffled into the hall. She opened another one, it rasped with a sick enthusiasm. This one looks promising. Enigmatic as the lady herself. Still, the fiend is likely a Gel'Yugan, a powerful Beatazu native to Cania. The mysterious woman mentioned by the unknown creature might be the Aerenes I mentioned earlier. I don't know what city is meant here, but it could be Sigil. I'm just unsure what the author meant by a peak. Let's leave it then. Portals lead to places, and Blizzard in Baator will feature over 30 new areas. Act 1 alone will introduce over 25 of them, though most of the action will take place in Sigil. The mod will expand the cage with an extra region called the Ditch. We'll also go back to Baator, more specifically to its 8th layer, Cania. Moreover, based on the trailer, I suspect we will visit the Outlands again. I'm betting on the House of Knowledge, but we'll get to why of it later. For now, let's take a brief look at the Ditch and Cania. Calling the Ditch a district of Sigil is a stretch, but it's the easiest way to put it in game terms. The Ditch is an aqueduct of sorts, or a filthy river if you will. A kind you don't want to swim in unless you want to pen yourself into the dead book, or swim with bergs already written in it. So in reality, the mod expands the lower ward and the hive as the Ditch separates these districts. In case you're wondering, it's not far away from the areas known from the base game. In fact, it's just a few blocks away to the south of the mortuary. Curiously, there are rumors about a monster living in the Ditch, lovingly nicknamed Cassie. Given that the Ditch has portals in it, Cassie might be in fact Nessie on vacation in Sigil.
Oh, sweet suffering. Powers, don't you ever get tired of hearing yourself jabber?
Jokes aside, Sigil looks absolutely stunning in Blizzard in Baator. In its own peculiar way, that is. I can't believe how faithful to the original the team managed to stay. Just look at the Razor Vine. It's a really nice touch for people with in-depth knowledge of the setting and attention to such details. As for Cania, it's more mysterious, but definitely an interesting place to visit, if you don't mind freezing your parts off. And I'm not even joking, in AD&D 2nd edition you die in 1d4 minutes if you didn't dress appropriately for the Canian weather. So, the Nameless One and Anna really need to rethink their attire. Of course, first we will have to figure out a way to the 8th layer of Baator, as one does not simply walk into Cania. Once there, we're going to investigate a mysterious black tower looming under a massive glacier. The team told me that it's an original non-canon place, which gives them plenty of creative freedom. At any rate, Cania is a fitting stage for political struggle. You see, it is ruled over by Mephistopheles, an incredibly powerful archfiend, second only to Asmodeus. He could be the one scheming to change that. Remember that dialogue I translated? The unnamed fiend saying soon there won't be 9? I don't think it's a coincidence. And the only portal to Nessus, the final layer of hell, is located in, you guessed it, Cania. The title of the mod is no accident either. It's actually part of the so-called cant, which is slang you can hear in Sigil, for instance. To say when there's a blizzard in Baator, though I believe it's a non-canon cant, means something very unlikely. Well, blizzards in Baator do happen in Stygia and Cania, and by the looks of it, a different kind of storm might be coming in the 9 hells. Cania is a good place for political intrigue for another reason, namely its primary inhabitants, the Gelugons, also known as the Ice Devils. I'm willing to bet my money on their heavy involvement in the story. First off, because of that dialogue fragment from earlier, and because a Gelugon is present in the trailer with quite a bit of spotlight. In AD&D 2nd edition, the Ice Devils ranked just below Pit Fiends. While later editions changed the hierarchy a bit, Gelugons have always been portrayed as fierce warriors and powerful spellslingers. What's more, they are incredibly ambitious and very loyal to their infernal superiors. And probably because of these qualities, they are the ones guarding the portal to Nessus. Aside from Gelugons, we will surely encounter at least one Eirenes somewhere, and I'm pretty sure she'll be a joinable NPC later down the road. Eirenes are a fascinating type of Beatezu, master manipulators first and foremost, but there's another side to them as well. You see, they often do infernal justice, let's call it. For example, by hunting down those who broke infernal laws. On rare occasions, they might even help mortals this way. Like say, when a devil failed to uphold its end of a bargain or forced a mortal to sign a contract. But it's not because they want to help mortals, it's because they are awfully lawful, or lawful awful. I'm also intrigued by the angelic character from the trailer, who seems like a major antagonist of Act 1. I can't decide what's stranger about her though, parchment for wings, or wearing high heels for a boss fight. But in all seriousness, she's definitely a so-called word archon. Judging by the trailer, the encounter most likely takes place in the House of Knowledge, the divine realm of Ogma in the Outlands. Incidentally, Blizzard in Baator uses a custom cosmology, linked below. Now, word archons are especially interesting because they wield and revere true name magic. True name magic in turn is pretty much the assembly language of the multiverse. The most common spells of this kind include the command and power word spells. Tome of Magic 3.5 says that, quote, "The cosmos seems to hear a true namer's instruction and reorders the universe in accordance with the spoken words." Sounds awesome, alright, but we might not feel that way when we are on the receiving end. Other than that, Blizzard in Baator currently has 21 new bestiary entries. Although I was told there are more sprites than that, just not all of them got a bestiary entry. That number will also grow as the mod is being developed. Act 1 alone will bring over 100 new NPCs to the game world. Sadly, aside from the few creatures I talked about, I don't know what else could be in that blurred bestiary from the trailer. Which was a weird choice, by the way, but okay. If you have any ideas what they are showing, do share them down in the comments. The good news is, Blizzard in Baator will add 2 joinable NPCs. The bad news is, starting in Act 2. While the mod will not introduce any new character classes, these companions will likely be dual-classed. The team wouldn't tell me more, but it seems reasonable to assume they will go with something absent from the original game, so say, a cleric fighter or thief mage. If we're indeed getting an Eirenes friend, my money is on her being a fighter cleric. As a side note here, her character model from the initial announcement of the mod is now scrapped. Anyway, I imagine the other companion will also be something unusual, just like the rest of our motley crew. Speaking of which, Blizzard in Baator will introduce new interactions of our party with the in-game world. The team wants to put an emphasis on those companions that didn't have that much going on for them in the base game. So I assume Ignis, Whaler, and perhaps Nordum are on the shortlist. What's more, some of the new dialogues might even boost their stats or make them leave the party. Personally, I'm very interested in seeing how Fall from Grace and Anna will react to the mysterious Eirenes. You know, the mod creators told me the old guard and the newcomers might come into a serious conflict. Potentially the sword that ends with an extra name in the dead book. As for the sound, I'm sure you noticed the original voice actors in the trailer. Don't worry, it's not AI. These are just voice files that ended up unused in the original game. Blizzard and Baator will feature voiceover for its original characters though. Moreover, the mod will have its own soundtrack inspired by those composed by Mark Morgan and Lustmord. If you don't know about the latter, I recommend you check out my Torment retrospective. There's also a playable piano shown in the trailer. It's not purely cosmetic, mind you, but a part of a puzzle. And it seems we'll be fighting its owner as well. Perhaps only if we solve that puzzle. And on the subject of AI, I specifically asked the team if they use it at all. They admitted it helps with some mundane tasks, but they stressed that AI should never replace human creative work, which I was glad to hear. Moving on, I love the cutscenes in Blizzard and Baator. They've got that late 90s FMV vibe. They are so much better than animated comic strips, which some developers choose for some reason. Act 1 has 6 cutscenes at the moment, but it's probably going to get 2 more before the demo releases. Finally, Blizzard and Baator will both restore many items and spells unused in the original game and add new ones too. The team is trying to make sure that they aren't overpowered so that they don't break the balance of the base game. At the moment, Blizzard and Baator features about 80 items and 40 spells, new and restored. However, this number is likely to grow before Act 1 releases to the public. My only gripe so far are the random encounters. I mean, I appreciate that they want to give us plenty of perks to use new weapons and spells on, but I prefer to talk things out in Torment. To each his own, I suppose. For now, I can't really say anything about the writing quality. I do see some linguistic problems, but an editorial pass will surely fix them. And hey, we're not in a Polish class. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I'm going to start a new playthrough so that I'm ready when Act 1 comes out later this year. Well, not so fast, Cotter. To fully enjoy the mod, you'll have to start a new game with it installed. While there will be an option to skip right to the start of the new adventure, the team says it doesn't work perfectly because of the Infinity Engine's limitations. So, unfortunately, you can't use your existing saves or prepare new ones in advance. Speaking of technical stuff, the team told me there has been some skepticism from the modding community. After all, 2 similarly ambitious mods from the past, Planescape Vengeance and Planescape Damnation, failed to materialize. Releasing Act 1 of Blizzard and Baator, aside from building hype for the full experience, is meant to be a proof of concept to the modding community. The team hopes other Bloods will join the project once they see that a mega mod like that is possible to make. So, if you're willing to help out, I put the contact info in the description. Curiously, one of the developers told me that the trailer piqued the interest of, quote, a few interesting writers from across the pond, unquote. That's not the only thing I heard, but the rest was off the record. However, let me tell you, I really like where Blizzard and Baator is going. What's surprising is that the team mostly uses old tools that have been available for ages, like Near Infinity. Apparently, the biggest difference is the engine of the Enhanced Edition. Beamdog introduced a lot of changes to it, making creating such a mod possible. Well, if the Act 1 trailer and the footage I received are any indication, Blizzard and Baator could easily be a commercial release. It's absolutely gorgeous, though it's the story and its characters that I'm most interested in. Luckily, we won't have to wait long to play Act 1. So, Planewalkers, get ready for the end of the year. In the meantime, if you liked this video, consider subscribing to help the channel grow, and check out my Torment retrospective if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.